So if you remember, we said that we are going to make those items as pressable. So when you are clicking on that item, you are going to the detail of the screen of that item. So for that, first of all, I am going to have, like, for the rendering of the item, I will align something called a pressable. If you remember, we used that for navigating to the detail screen. So first of all, I'm going here to say, okay, return, and I will open parentheses. So I'm going to return the whole function. I will say exactly the same way, pressable, and the pressable will have like a function which is called, or output function which is called onPress, and the onPress I'm going to pass the function exactly the same way how we did before. So I will say navigate to detail. I will not say navigate to detail, but we will put open crypto. It's better to give meaningful names. So detail. So I will have here open cryptos detail. So we have this function. So this function, it will be replacement for this function, navigate to detail. So we just rename this function and it will be used in the same way. So because this function is inside the home screen object, as you see here, so we cannot call it outside of that function or of that component. So it's better to move the render item component to inside the home screen component. So I will put here the function again. So everything is aligned and everything is fine. And now we need to put some data inside this pressable. So I will need two texts. So first one, text, we can say it will hold the name. So I will say here, give me the item.name. And the second one, it will give me the item.price. So we will have here item.price as well. Let's save. Nice, we have the BTC and price, and then Ethereum and price, Solana and price. So in that way, when I click on one of those items, I go to detail screen, which is very good. This is exactly what I wanted. So let's do now some styling. Normally, when you want to style any component, the component itself from React Native has input, which is called, or property, which is called style. And this style, you can define your styles as you want. So if you have multiple styles or multiple classes, of course, like in CSS, let's talk, it's better to separate them to be somewhere outside of your component, and you can have a cleaner code here to not have like the inline styling as well. So for that, you can create an object which is called styles. Let's say, for example, I will call it styles, and this styles will have here like some name or the name of the class or of the object. So I can say here the item itself, I am going to style it. So you can as well have like something like some meaningful name. So you can have like crypto button, for example, or just a crypto. So we go again here to the styles. We need to define this object. So I will go down at the end. I'm making sure that I am inside the home screen. Of course, you can also make it outside of the home screen. So I will go here outside and I will say, okay, give me a constant. And this constant has the type or the function which we are going to make that to say that this style is accepting the styling. Because if you see here, we have something called style prop. And the style prop is from view style. So for that, the styles, we are going to call some component which is called style sheet. And this style sheet also comes from React Native. So I imported here on the top, and then this style sheet, you can say dot create. I am going to create a style sheet for this component or for this screen. And then every object item from this item or this style sheet will have name of the class which I name. For example, I have a crypto. So I will say, okay, the first member is a crypto, and this crypto, we can say that it will have the properties like the following. For example, I will say border radius, let's say, like it's exactly like CSS. So I will have here border radius, let's say 5. Here we don't type pixel like CSS, we just put numbers. And also we will have border width, like exactly the size which I have defined as you saw in the demo. And also let's put like some background color. So I will say here background color will be like black. And also we will have as well like some padding, let's say, for the text to be in padding situation, so we can have the same way. So I will put here 20 pixel. So let's save, try that. Okay, it's ugly a little bit, we need to align it more. So first of all, let's remove those styles here as well. We are going to make them as well as container or as a class here. So I will say here that I will use from the styles some style called container, and this container also I am going to define it, and this container will be as well an object, and this object will have some properties or classes. So the first property can have some background color. So the background color we can define, which I got already, so you can select the color which you want. I saw that this color is nice. And also you can have flex, it will be 1, exactly how the properties we had before. So let's save. Okay, as you see, we have all the properties, but we don't see the text because it's black as well. So we need to make the text to be as white. Maybe you can make, for example, the color of the text directly here. So I will say like I will have FFF. So if you make that, as you see, it's not inherited. The colors, or like if the container, the main container has some property like color, then it's not giving those properties or styles to the children. So you have to know that it's not like in the CSS. You have to define a specific class for this text and give it the color or give it the property which you want. So, okay, now let's give colors for our text. So I will say here, additionally, like I am going to define a style for this text. I will say like this text will have style.name, and also the style will have here as well something called a price. So I will go here that we have name and a price. Okay, let's save. We will define those classes as well. So I will have here another property called name, and the name will have the properties which is like color, and this color will be, as you say, or as we say here, like color white. So as you see, we got here the Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. We can give like some big font size, so you can put font size exactly like CSS. So you don't have to, for example, say, okay, it's hard move from React Native or from CSS to React Native. So we have here the prices or the names are clear. So let's make also a class for the prices. So I will put it here as well. And I will say, okay, the price will be the same way, but let's choose different color. Like I'm going to put this color, so we can put the price also bigger, or the font is bigger. So I will put here price, and we got this color. Okay, now let's align them to be here exactly like near as we saw in the demo. So for that, the crypto itself, I am going to say that this has type flex. So those items will be aligned near each other. So the alignment of those items will be as a flex direction. So you know that in flex direction, you can say they can be on the same line by a row, or you can say like a column. So with column, they will be under each other. So every item will have BTC and under it the price. But if you say row, then they will be near each other. But we have now problem that they are sticking to each other. So to fix that, let me put it like this to see changes fast. So I have here like another property which is called justify content. And this justify content can be enabled when you are using the flex. So in this way, I will say put for me a space between each item of this crypto. One crypto, the children of it, which is title and also the price, or the name and the price, there will be space between them. So we put space between, And as you see, they are far again from each other. As well, we can give like some margins. We can say for those items. So I can give as a property for each crypto like margin bottom, let's say. Like this is for each crypto because we are styling the item, if you remember. So the crypto pressable, every button will have those properties. So margin bottom, we can put like, for example, 8, say, and we give these spaces. Or you can keep it in general, like you can say, I don't want margin, but I can say margin in general. So it will be margin from all sides. So let's say here, this is 10. As you see, we got this shape. It's exactly how we saw in the demo. This is very good. Now I am clicking on them and I am moving. It's exactly the click should be on them. So the nice thing now that we have the prices but with the fake data, we are going to see how we can bring the real data from the WebSocket and see how the prices here are changing, which is very important. We are going to work now with the real data from our API which we created, or from our WebSocket which we created in the backend part. But before we jump there, I want as well to show you how we can pass parameter. So I want to know if I click on Bitcoin, I see here, okay, you clicked on Bitcoin or on the Bitcoin with ID this. So we can see like pass data, we can say from screen to screen. So when I click on Ethereum, I will get the detail of Ethereum here. So for that, let's pass only the ID, because if you remember, in the back end, we grabbed something called API, like to get the data of some crypto by the ID. So what we need exactly here is just the ID of the clicked crypto. So in the next lecture, we are going to see that with the navigation, as you will see.